Hey everybody, David the AI Guide here. Happy Sunday, and thanks to all the new subscribers. We're also on Facebook and Twitter, and please share and like videos. We really appreciate your support. Today we're going to talk about new air transportation, and we've already talked about this, and it's on the way, and it's on the way sooner than we think. This past week, there was an announcement between two companies overseas. One is Solvay in Europe, and the other is Vertical Aerospace in the UK. They are collaborating to build and launch a vertical takeoff and landing air taxi vehicle. This one will have a pilot. It is already well into technical development. In fact, the first test flight is expected by the end of 2021, and they believe that they will have certification from the equivalent of the FAA over there by 2024, which is a reasonable time frame. Once a plane is in flight testing, it is reasonable for about 3 years to commercialization. So this particular one is piloted, and however, as we've talked about, in addition to these two companies over in Europe and the UK partnering up, we've got several companies here in the US, and I'm sure there's some in China, I'll look into that, working on this too. And the companies working on it here are huge. We're talking Uber and Lyft and companies like that. So these are roughly 4 passenger vehicles, and they will be for urban mobility in areas, major metropolitan areas. I told you already about one in Florida that will make the run from Orlando to Tampa St. Pete. And that one is also scheduled to be done about 2023, 2024. So let's say by 2025, we're going to have a number of companies have these vehicles in commercial service. This particular one is piloted, and those are easier and faster to develop. But with that said, there will be AI-driven, unpiloted ones shortly after that. So we're talking 2025, 2026 at the latest. So what is this going to do? Well, this is, along with self-driving electric vehicles, is really going to change the transportation landscape. And over 15, 20 years, the change will be moving from individually owned transportation assets to shared transportation assets. So this will be shared autonomous trucks, shared autonomous buses, shared autonomous taxis and chauffeur type cars, and shared autonomous air travel in small groups over shorter distances. This isn't going to impact the coast-to-coast travel on airliners or international travel on airliners, but there's stuff that's coming that will affect that too. We already know that the Starship is in testing, early testing. It'll take another couple of years to get through the testing regime for that one. But by 2030, which is what we keep saying roughly here, by 2030, it's reasonable to believe that there will be the opportunity to fly on a Starship from, for example, New York to Sydney in 45 minutes versus nearly 24 hours right now. This is going to be a complete revolution in the way the world works. because vast distances will become totally inconsequential. And by the way, just a side note, outside of transportation, there's other technologies in development right now to dramatically shrink and eliminate distances in geographic space around the world. And one of those is sponsored by the X Prize Foundation, Peter Diamandis, and they have a prize going right now for an avatar, which will allow someone to control an avatar on the other side of the world and make it interact and behave with people in a way that would be very similar to you actually being there. The upshot of all this is that the world is going to get much smaller than it is today. And that is going to start to change people's minds over the next 100 years about how the world is run and how it works. Because if people by 100 years from now can easily get from one side of the world to the other, and goods, physical goods, can get from one side of the world to the other very, very quickly, multiples faster than current transportation methods by container ships and air cargo, then the perception of differences around the world will shrink. It's inevitable. So who knows what will happen down the road politically, and that's not something that we care about here at the AI Guide, except in the way that AI affects people. We care very much about that, and there is a political aspect to that, but in politics in general, that's not our thing here at the AI Guide. But perceptions do change, and these technologies are starting to roll out very quickly. And as the pace of change continues to exponentially increase, as transportation changes, as food growth and distribution changes, as the manufacture and distribution of other physical products change, there's a lot of interesting things going on in the housing sector with 3D printing. Almost everything that you can think of is going to change in the next 20 years. So this must change the way people think, because humans are very attuned to their environment and are going to react to a radically different environment. But back to our topic today, transportation. This is going to be amazing, right? Because you guys may not realize this, but air travel has gotten orders of magnitude cheaper than it used to be. For example, one of my kids went to Hawaii recently. One way, $200 to Hawaii, which was basically almost halfway around the world for $200. I can tell you that when I was younger, that would have been $1,200 or $1,500. So one of the things that these transportation revolutions are going to do is going to continue to make transport more and more affordable. Shared transportation will be more affordable than individually owned transportation within a very short period of time. And the reason we talk about all these transportation changes here at the AI Guide is because they're going to be AI driven, particularly the autonomous ones, but ultimately you won't need a pilot in any of these vehicles. So very interesting stuff. Further confirmation of one of the central things that we talk about here at the AI Guide, which is exponential change at an exponentially increasing rate, which is going to affect every human being on this planet in both good ways and tough ways. And our mission here is to make sure that younger people are prepared for a dramatic revolution in all aspects of human life over the next 30 years during your working lifetime. Everything will change. So we're going to be providing resources, as I've said, very, very shortly to start helping you be better prepared for the tsunami of change that's already underway. And in terms of jobs, clearly, for you hands-on folks, there's going to be a lot of opportunity in maintaining all of these shared transportation fleets, whether it's aircraft like the eVTOLs, electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles that are in development right now, and also ground transportation vehicles. The number of people needed to service transportation assets is going to increase dramatically. So something to consider as a possible career if you're thinking about changing or you haven't decided what you're going to do yet or you're still in school. And particularly on aircraft, these are going to be very well-paying jobs. So thanks a lot. Talk to you next time. Have a good rest of the weekend. Take care. Bye.